Everybody, Jimmy Smith weighing in this time on the Fighter of the Year debate. First thing I would love to hear in the comments section for anyone who has an opinion, are there any other names, as far as you're concerned, than Ilia Topuria and Alex Pereira? I don't know of any. The real debate here is between Topuria and Pereira. I want to weigh in on that one. If there are any other names you can think of, like to put them in the comments section, please let me know. Now, one thing about the Fighter of the Year debate is you got to make sure the parameters are good. We're talking about the same thing at the same time. We are talking about the purity of this particular year. That's it. And the idea of where a fighter was before that and where they are now. To me, that's an important side of it. Fighter of the Year, if it's a continuation of what you've already been doing, that's one thing. If this was a year that was, wow, above and beyond everything else you've done in your career, that's another thing. I think that should favor on the side of the fighter who wins, if that makes sense. GSP, you could argue anything in his title run, he was Fighter of the Year. He was taking on great guys, but he did that every single year. And I don't remember any one year being better than the others in terms of his undefeated run. He said that about a lot of different fighters. So, who had the better year? To me, there are a few different factors. But let's start out with Alex Pereira. What did he do in 2024? It started off with Jamal Hill, knocking him out UFC 300. That was April of 2024. Obviously, a great performance against a former champion, and got the knockout in the first round. Highlight reel stuff. Great start to the year. Next, Jiří Procházka, another former champion, knocked him out 13 seconds into round number 2. That was June of this year. That one was late notice. If you don't remember, it was supposed to be Michael Chandler versus, one of the million times, Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor. That ended up falling out because he got a toe injury. They step into the main event, so short notice fight. But remember, it was a short notice fight for Procházka too. Procházka wasn't supposed to be on that card. I'm trying to think. Yeah, they were both short notice. So is it an accomplishment to win on short notice? Yeah, but it's really an accomplishment when you're the short notice fighter and the other guy had a full camp and Jiří Procházka did not. As far as I remember, it was short notice for both of them. So no real advantage there. Impressive that he got the knockout in the second round on short notice, but it was short notice for both of them. So it ended with the Khalil Roundtree Jr. knockout. That was UFC 307. That was in October. And it was a fourth round knockout, 4:32 into that fight. Once again, really good fight against a very good striker. Knocked him out. So what does he have on his side? Number one, 2 of those wins of his 3 were former champions. It's impressive stuff. Okay. 1 by knockout, highlight reel stuff. One of them short notice, but as I said, it was short notice for both of them, which is a little different. The aesthetics of the fight, right? Boom, these big knockouts that really impressed everybody. 3 title defenses in a year is really, really good. At the elite level, you rarely see that. It's usually 2, sometimes 3, but once again, it's a lot. That's a hell of a schedule. So the idea that he's fought 3 times in a row, 2 of them former champions, and the one that wasn't a former champion, a very talented kickboxer, that he defended the title 3 times in a calendar year, all of them by knockout, that's a great year. All right, so why isn't he number 1, right? What is working against him? Part of it, and let me know in the comment section what you think about it. I really believe 2022 and 2023, you could argue were better years for Alex Pereira. I think he was Fighter of the Year in 2022, if I remember correctly. But 2023, he won the light heavyweight title. He beat Jan Blachowicz and Jiří Procházka. And coming off the loss to Israel Adesanya, so there was a little bit of a comeback there. Once again, he fought 3 times in a calendar year. That's really, really impressive. I kind of see 2024 as more of a continuation of what he was already doing. He was already champion at the start of the year. There were 3 title defenses. Great stuff. Defended him in dramatic fashion every single time. No one's gone the distance with him. Great stuff. But it's more of a continuation of what he was already doing in 2023. When it comes to breakout amazing years, I think 2022 and 2023 were better. In 2022, he came from basically nowhere, fought 3 times, and became champion at 185 pounds with a 7-1 record. All right, that's incredible. So you could argue what he accomplished in previous years is better than this year. Now, could he be a 2-time Fighter of the Year? Sure. Right, it's certainly possible. So I'm just saying that when it comes to his career trajectory, I think he did better in 2022 and 2023. Now, another thing about this year, the problem with 205 is there are a lot of guys at the top. There's a lot of parity at 205. I don't think we're talking about a lot of these guys other than Alex Pereira in a decade. I don't. Yeah, he beat former champions in Jamal Hill and Ilia Topuria. Yes, they were former champions. I don't think those were great champions who were going to have long runs. Obviously Ilia Topuria had the shoulder injury, so he was out for a long time. Jamal Hill ruptured his Achilles. So injuries derailed both of them. I don't see them as long-term champions. I didn't see them as guys, man, we're going to remember those guys at 205. And obviously Khalil Roundtree bumped up quite a bit to get the title shot. Pereira's beaten everybody in the division, so Khalil Roundtree was available and he fought. But Khalil Roundtree, I don't think we're talking about him in a decade. So the run he went through, I don't think is historically great. Beating 3 guys in a year is an incredible accomplishment. Beating 2 former champions in a year is an incredible accomplishment, but they aren't former champions that will live on in the legacy of 205 when we're looking at it in the rearview mirror. I know that takes a little bit of time to figure out exactly what their legacy is going to be. Right now, sitting here in 2024, I don't think either guy is going to go down as great fighters at 205, right? Now, Ilia Topuria. He knocks out Alexander Volkanovski. That was to start his 2024 run. That was in February of this year. Knocked him out 332 of round number 2. Alex Volkanovski had never been knocked out in the UFC. Granite chin and defeated Max Holloway 3 times. I had him number 2 on my list of 145-pounders all time. Jose Aldo still, to me, is number 1, but, argue all you want in the comment section about that one. But knocked him out. Then knocks out Max Holloway recently, October 26th. People don't remember. Round number 3, minute 34. Once again, Max Holloway, never been knocked out. Incredible chin. Had fought up a weight class. Had just beaten Justin Gaethje. Slept him. And then this 145-pounder knocks him out. Gone to war with Dustin Poirier at 155. This guy knocks him out. So, an incredible run against 2 guys, Max Holloway and Alex Volkanovski, who are on my list, number 2 and 3 all time at 145. Volk is number 2, Max Holloway number 3. So, this was the end of an era in the featherweight division this year. Ilia Topuria closed the door on your dad's 145-pound division, meaning the division before him. He's rematching with Volkanovski. I don't give Volkanovski much of a shot in the rematch. I think if he fights Holloway, I think if the end of the fight 10 times, he wins 9 of them. So this is just a turning of the page at 145 pounds in a way that I don't think Pereira, the division is very, very different. So his division has a lot of parity. 145 has a couple good guys right at the top, and Pereira wiped them both out. Topuria wiped them both out in the same year. So not only did he beat 2 guys who are impossible to knock out, he finished them both, looked really good doing it, continues his undefeated streak, and it was a big step up for him as opposed to previous years. Once again, I think Pereira had a better year in 2022 and 2023, even better than 2024, as amazing as this year has been for him. So I wouldn't say it was a breakout year for Topuria. I think last year was a breakout year for Topuria, where we saw him as a contender when he wiped out Josh Emmett, and then, of course, the Bryce Mitchell. That was 2022 when he fought Bryce Mitchell. So we had gotten hints of how great he was leading into this year, but this year was out of the park, knocking out those 2 guys. So in a decade, are we talking about Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway? Without a doubt. Without a doubt, we're talking about those guys in 10 years. When you talk about the greatest 145-pounders of all time, those 2 names are going to come up. Where you put them, once again, argue about it in the comment section. Right now, to me, Volk is 2, Holloway's 3. But that's why, to me, Topuria should be Fighter of the Year. He knocked out 2, not just former champions, 2 all-time greats. And the way he did it, Ilia Topuria on the Alex Pereira side is a wide-open kind of guy. He eats a lot of big punches. The fact that he was able to knock him out, I don't consider that surprising. Jamal Hill had up and down performances other times in his career, knocked him out. Khalil Roundtree, I'll say Khalil Roundtree is a great 205er. He's solid. He's not great. So these are 2 guys that never looked bad, never got knocked out, never fell to a right hand the way they did from Ilia Topuria. And the way Ilia did it, and if you want to go look at my breakdown of the fight itself, he looked tight, he looked strong, he looked technical. It was like when I look at Ilia Topuria, all right, if there was a fighter and said, Jimmy, can you train me to fight Ilia Topuria? I'd go, ugh, I don't see a lot of ways to beat this guy. I also don't see anyone right now on the 145-pound horizon who beats him. I just don't. I don't see anyone right now at 145 pounds who beats Ilia Topuria. I think Magomed Ankalaev is a very tough fight for is a very tough fight right now for Alex Pereira. We don't know if they're going to fight, what's going on, so I'm projecting a little bit into the future. But when it comes to 2024, all by itself, knocking out two future Hall of Famers, two, whatever you want to call them, first ballot Hall of Famers. There's no real procedure in the UFC for doing it, but two guys are going to be in the Hall of Fame for sure at 145. Laying them both out when they both have iron chins and were incredibly consistent throughout their careers, to me, that's Fighter of the Year. We're talking about these guys in 10 years in a way I don't think we're talking about Alex Pereira's opponents in 10 years. So let me know what you think in the comment section. My vote goes for Ilia Topuria, Fighter of the Year in 2024. Pereira, a close second, but still number 2 to me. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'll see you next time.